the community nonsense. How long has that been there and no one told me? I'm just gonna take these out. Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to Taylor Does Whatever, where we talk about anything from makeup to true crime to pretty much anything that I feel like talking about for the day. So today's video, I wanted to talk about consumerism. Consumerism, but primarily around the makeup industry is kind of like what I will be discussing. Obviously, we are in weird times, okay? We can acknowledge that. I feel like most of us have accepted that. There is a slight few of human beings that have not accepted that, but that's okay. So in today's video, I wanted to just go over some things that I personally have been thinking about. And I know I'm not alone in this thought. This isn't like an original thought or anything like that. What I find to be very interesting is how this horrible time that everybody's in, we are all impacted by it, whether we are severely impacted or minimally impacted. Everybody in the world right now is impacted by what is going on in some way, shape, or form. I'm not going to say the word because YouTube doesn't like the word, but we all know, okay? We all know. Let's just start talking. So I feel as though I can speak for everybody when I'm saying, oh my god, my bangs are ruining my life. Anyway, I think that I can speak for everyone when I say that this is not a normal time for purchasing things. So the big thing that I want to discuss is relatively just around the beauty community and how significantly things have changed just within the last few months. And something that some of my favorite videos on planet Earth on this platform are around consumerism. I know that Smoky Glow, Hannah, Abby Williamson, I know Julia Mazzucato, she talks a lot about it. There's so many different YouTubers out right now that talk about consumerism, and they've been talking about consumerism for a really long time. The beauty community relies heavily within the last few years around influencing and just kind of social media marketing and things like that. And with that being said, we went from a time with makeup, like I have been on the YouTube platform for a few years filming my own videos, but YouTube content, this is where I learned how to do makeup. So when YouTube first came out, it was literally just people sitting in their rooms like I'm doing right now, just doing their makeup and talking about what they like and what they don't like. And there was no advertisements, there was no paid promotions or anything like that. And I'm not against, oh, there's hair. I'm not against marketing. I'm not against advertisements or sponsorships in videos, anything like that. However, it's a known fact how much the presence of that has changed the beauty community. Everyone would lust over things like the naked palettes. Like when those came out, those were revolutionary. Or even when the Anastasia Beverly Hills Modern Renaissance palette came out. Like these were all things that were in a lot of people's collections because at the time, and we all know this, but at the time there wasn't that many things to choose from. And so there was a time in YouTube, far, far back in the day, where people would use the same products in their videos. Like they would use the same products that they used in one video in the next. And it's no shock to anybody how much that's changed over the last few years in the beauty community. There was a point in time, I want to say it's slowed down significantly. Like I feel like a lot of people have kind of just been like, okay, we've had a bit much of the community nonsense. How long has that been there and no one told me? I'm just gonna take these out. Anyway, there was a time where we all lusted over the same products and pretty much everybody could get them. I mean, at the end of the day, like if you wanted something, things weren't necessarily limited edition and things like that. So we were able to gradually build a makeup collection and pretty much get any look out of it. Like you didn't have to have multiple makeup palettes. If you would have asked me when I first started doing makeup if I would own like multiple eyeshadow palettes, I probably would have laughed because at the time when the naked palettes came out and things like that, like those were items that were on my Christmas wish list. that I would be thrilled if they actually ended up in my lap. And as I grew older, I could make my own purchases and things like that. But I definitely fell into the hype of wanting to purchase a lot of things. And I know that a lot of people who make YouTube content, especially makeup content, really fell into that trap, especially smaller creators, of feeling as though we had to have like every product that came out onto the market. When I first started my YouTube channel, it was really in the hype of new products. Like every video that larger creators were making were brand new makeup, like what's new in makeup videos. We didn't really have the anti-hauls or things like that. So we were so focused on consumerism. There wasn't that big kind of anti-consumerism culture yet within the YouTube makeup community. And I feel as though we really significantly needed that. You get the product after everyone already did their PR videos, and then that makeup product almost was deemed like irrelevant at the time. Although there has been a significant shift over the last few years, I want to say like 2 years ago, YouTube beauty community was at its prime when it came to just mass consumerism and purchasing everything. With that, we see brands that were constantly releasing product. I mean, you look at brands like ColourPop, and I remember back in the day when ColourPop literally only had lipsticks. Like that's it. They basically just had lipsticks and they had their single shadows. And I remember when ColourPop came out with their first eyeshadow palette, and I thought that that was the coolest thing in the world, and everyone was super excited for it. And the hype was so real, the hype was there, I wanted it, I got a palette, and it was great. But what slowly started happening to the ColourPop that we all know and love now had a new product release literally every single week. Like every single week. Just think about that. Think about the time where we all knew what ColourPop was, and if you didn't, I will explain it to you. But there was a time where ColourPop didn't have eyeshadow palettes. So there wasn't new releases every other week. And that made the brand, in my opinion, very sought after. It was a very exciting brand. But the more and more eyeshadow palettes that came out, the less I seemed to care, and the less a lot of people seemed to care. There just came a time where I literally like stopped doing makeup content because I couldn't keep up with it anymore. I couldn't afford to be buying a new eyeshadow palette to do a review on. And eventually I was just like, well, I'm just not gonna create makeup content anymore. But then that's kind of when the anti-consumerism videos started coming, and those are videos that I really connected with and really felt the connection with the creators, in the feeling that I'm glad I'm not the only one that's feeling extremely overwhelmed with the amount of products that are being pumped out. We all know this is nothing new. So we fast forward to 2020. 2020, the dark times, where ColourPop hasn't released a new product in months, I want to say. You can barely even order anything off ColourPop. They're not open, like their facility isn't opened right now. And so it's been so refreshing to not have makeup products being shoved in my face every 5 seconds. And I'm so curious to see how it's going to switch when things go back to normal, whatever that's supposed to mean. I want to know, is the community going to go back to brand new products, or is it going to be kind of a social experiment to see, well, you know, do we need to be launching that many products? I don't know what's going to happen. I'm kind of on the fence where I think once things go back to normal, there's going to be a lot of people, a lot of brands coming out with new products. So that in itself, I think is going to be really interesting to see over the next few months, to see kind of how things are going to be changing from a marketing perspective, or just from new releases in general. Like, I'm sure a ton of brands have stopped new releases and collections and things like that that were supposed to be launching for Coachella season and all of that nonsense. I've really been enjoying these last couple months is just reflecting on the products that I already have within my collection. What a thought. So something that I've been seeing a lot more on YouTube recently are creators that are making videos with older products, or products that have kind of come and gone. There's not as many videos of hot new releases, because people aren't buying things right now. Like, we're in a world right now where people aren't working, or we're in a world right now where people are focusing just more on the bills that they need to pay and the food that they need to get on the table. And the last thing on a lot of people's minds is new makeup releases. But on the flip side of that, something that this has done is it's gotten me excited about the things that I already have in my collection. There are makeup palettes and just makeup products in general in my collection right now that I haven't used in probably literally years. There are some that I literally haven't used at all. And then there are some that have just kind of been neglected because the new and improved things have come out, or just it's kind of been there, done that, and it's lost a lot of its excitement. But what's been really fun is that because I'm not focused on new products, I'm getting more inspired to use the things that are in my collection, from skincare products to makeup products. In my skincare collection, so right now I have really been focusing on skincare because I have the time, and if I'm stuck at home, I might as well be treating myself with some dignity and respect for the skin. I put her through a lot, and I took just full inventory of the skincare products alone that I have and really reflected on how those purchases were so heavily influenced from YouTubers, right? Like face masks or Tarte moisturizers, things like that that have been so heavily thrown into my face that I spent so much money on, and that I've never even used like half of the product because I would just keep purchasing new ones that were recommended to me. And I know, like with eyeshadow palettes, it's not easy to go through like a whole eyeshadow palette. It takes time and you can collect them. But what really put it into perspective for me was the skincare, and how I have products that are sitting on my shelf right now that are probably going to go expired here soon because I just never finished it, because a new product came out and I would test that new product, or someone was talking about this or had a sponsored post and I was suckered into it. And so I'm really taking a lot of physical inventory of what I have in my collection right now, and I'm using it up. I made a full-on commitment to myself that I'm not going to give into the hype of new skincare products or new makeup products until I have thoroughly given the products that I own a shot and given them the use in my collection that they deserve. Because at the end of the day, I don't want to buy products to use once on camera and then never use it again. Like, that to me is such a waste of product. It's such a waste for the environment when these things eventually go bad and you have to throw them out and you didn't even get any use out of it. One thing that I really like to see is that normally people would go head over heels for some of the new makeup launches that are coming out, but it's really interesting seeing people commenting on like Trend Mood that they're not going to be purchasing some of these new releases. I think that this wake up call happened a long time ago for a lot of like the anti-consumerism beauty community, so like the Abby Williamsons and the Smoky Glows of YouTube. However, I think that this has really finally taken into effect for a massive portion of the beauty community that hasn't quite figured that part out yet, that basically makeup lines and influencers are just constantly pumping out new products, and we are put into a position where we feel as though we need to have it because that's constantly being talked about. But then 2 months later, no one even uses that product anymore, and now this person who just spent a large portion of their paycheck or got someone to purchase for them or saved a lot of money for, and they can't even see their favorite YouTubers using that product anymore, which was once in a favorites video or something like that, you know? So it's been really fun for me to go into my makeup collection and pick things out that excite me again. For whatever reason, things have changed and I'm excited about it again. But it's really nice seeing other YouTube creators doing the same thing. Creators that are doing shop my stash videos or videos talking about, you know, products that they haven't used in a really long time. I would love to know your guys' thoughts on kind of the shift in the makeup community right now. Like, are you guys happy that there's not a lot of releases? Are you guys someone that really enjoys seeing new releases? Because at the end of the day, there's nothing wrong with that either. If you want to purchase a lot of makeup, that's your own prerogative and I won't judge you for that. But as long as you're making it because you want it. I think that a vast majority of people who watch these videos are younger audiences or audiences that are very heavily influenced by the recommendations of another person, their favorite YouTuber, and sponsored content. And although I have nothing against sponsored content, I think that there's, you know, as long as it's done legally and ethically, I don't see anything wrong with that. But I do see that major companies definitely take full advantage because they know if they can have an influencer talk about a product, that people are going to buy it if it's hyped up enough. And the logistics of it is if you want to add that into your collection, that is obviously your choice to make, but using terminology like limited edition or, you know, getting a product super hyped up causes people to purchase things that they don't need. And it doesn't even give us time to reflect between purchases whether or not something is going to add an actual value to our collection or not. I have multiple different eyeshadows now that back in the day I was heavily influenced on because I wanted to purchase them. I wanted to have this new and improved thing in my collection. And over the years, I've been able to identify, you know, am I buying this because I want it or am I buying this because it's hyped up? And then if it's something that might not be necessarily adding a high value to my collection, is this something that maybe has something that would add value in its uniqueness? Whether it's a new formula that I would really like to try out, or maybe it's colors that I don't really find often in my collection. So these are the things that I currently am thinking of. But there are so many people that are not influenced in that way, and they'll just purchase anything that their favorite creator comes out with. I feel like in the beginning it was primarily smaller creators, and I use that term loosely because the term smaller creator is a very relative term. So, but smaller influencers, I feel like we're talking about this a few years ago and really kind of hyped up this, hey, you know, we need to slow the roll. We don't need to have all of these products thrown in our face. We don't need these items that aren't adding a significant value to our collection. And it's been really nice to really sit back through all of this and seeing that I can't go into a Sephora and splurge on an item. And what's also been changing too is shipping, right? Like Ulta and ColourPop. ColourPop's not even shipping right now. Like, there are companies that aren't even shipping right now, which are so heavily impacted by this, so people can't splurge on their websites. Curious to see how brands are going to go moving forward from this, if consumers are going to be really lusting for new products, or if people have been given kind of the time to look into their own collections right now and realize, I don't need new makeup. Hey guys, so sorry that clip cut short. I'm filming from my phone right now, but basically my camera battery died and then my chip happened to be full at the exact same time. So I just wanted to wrap this video up. I didn't want to rush it all at the very end. But basically that was kind of the end of the video. I would love to know your guys' thoughts on this. Are you guys gonna go consumer crazy when the things open back up? Or have you guys kind of had your own little reflections on the makeup inventory that you guys have? So I'd love to know your thoughts. Leave a comment down below and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.